figuring out the correct blocking so that it wasn't boring was really hard to do. And those, like, when I look at the first 3 days there, which are luckily aren't the first things that you see in the film, I always think that they're kind of choppy a little bit because we hadn't figured everything out, and then it gets smoother as we kind of figured out how to make these scenes more interesting and dynamic. Does that answer your question?
Like, hide the camera in a way, so the, you know, there's like a, you know, you just think you have like a whole crew on set, and so it becomes about how can you move the act. Like, I think about just the bathroom scene with me and you know, me and the, you know, my love interest, Alex, yeah. And I think about that scene, how difficult it was just to figure out how to get the camera in the bathroom and out down the hallway back into the living room, and like a smooth enough take without seeing the crew, or, you know, and because of, like he's talking about, sometimes you see like my perspective but from the back of my head, so you're trying to tell the story from that perspective and not break that continuity and then try to do it again but from this perspective, and so it becomes like a dance and choreography.
Yeah, continuity.
Continuity is no.
And we talked about this possible arc and how Krisha and Doyle saw themselves in each other, and how they could be best buddies or worst enemies, and, you know, in the flick of a dime. And so what we did for that is we shot 2 20-minute takes, and we shot 1 20-minute take of happy times and 1 20-minute take at no bullshit going at each other. And then that, you know, I pick and choose that and intercut it, and yeah. So I'd say about 50-50, part improv, part scripted. I don't know if y'all know, like, the lead character, Krisha, is my aunt. My mom plays her sister. The bathroom scene in, that's my mom. I'm in it, my grandma's in it, even though she didn't know we were making a movie. And yeah, but we tried to be as ambitious as we could cinematically, so I'm very, like, I guess, nitpicky.
So what exactly inspired the entire story behind the film?
It's super personal to my family and I. There was a particular incident that sparked the idea, I guess. My cousin basically had a relapse at a family reunion, and a month later she overdosed. And besides that, my dad had a lot of issues with alcoholism and addiction, and he passed away.
Yeah, I am a photographer too. I'm very visual, and I love being on set as a still photographer because I get to see how other people work, and directors, I think, is the best job. I mean, I want to direct all the time, but that's not possible. So I like to do a lot of set photography, and that's and yeah, my DP is like my second brain on set, and Zach was amazing on this. It was so great to collaborate with. Yeah, we went over the whole script together. We had a lot of fun, and we worked with a lot of elements. Like, we used real fire and lasers and smoke. We used a hazer, like in almost every shot, right? And it gives you that smoky feel. But I'm also a dancer, and so I feel like me as a filmmaker, like, yeah, my job as a director is like, it's like being a choreographer with the camera. And so I'm using my dance with film, so.
I'm actually a good guy. I really just wanted to put that on the screen, so hopefully I was not Travis. Okay, I was the good guy. I forgave him.
You had better hair as well.
I forgave him, so I grew as a person.
Yes, I do, Mike. Yeah. I think one of the coolest things for all of us was to have Marilyn on set most of the time. Marilyn is just an incredibly nice person, but but I know she's the screenwriter. She's an incredibly nice person, but most of all, she's kind of just got this insanely creative mind, and it was kind of cool to run stuff by her all the time, and it's about playing and dancing, you know, and just kind of, you know, facing adversity through kind of joy and hope, and Karen kind of encouraged that in all of us to make our own creative decisions. So yeah, they're both babes, and I'd like to. You're a babe too.
And I think one of the other reasons was to bring the awareness to people who don't really know what's going on. You know, when this came up after that meeting with Mr. Combs, and I have a friend who lives in Chicago, and I called her and I said, you know, how is this thing that's going on in Chicago, Chirac? Well, how is that affecting you? And she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I'm like, okay, I hate to say this, but you're white and you're wealthy. And that's exactly why. So that just motivated us more to make sure that we made this, because it sounds like a lot of you in the room are familiar with some of the issues, a lot of the issues that are going on. But most people are not, and people living in Chicago, they just don't watch the news because it's too depressing. So it was so important to us to bring this film, because it really raised the awareness of everything that's going on. And as you said, there were solutions there, but the right people were not hearing it. So I think that was one of the reasons why it was so important to make this film.
This country, period, you can't name not one corporation that didn't win off of not doing the right thing. So you can't name.
But there are a lot that started out the wrong way.
Well, something tells me, man, you can talk all day long, but I don't think nobody in the room want to go through that. So I'm just going to say the kingpin has to be in there for the same reason the president was in there. We all got a journey. We all have to evolve. You can't X out Coca-Cola, so you can't X out that Kingston. You know what I'm saying? Because he is actually one of the best people to fix the problem. Nobody's going to listen to somebody that's pretending. What we want is organics. You know what I'm saying? And when we can do that in this country, period, we'll be all right. If we keep playing what you're saying, we'll never get a true conversation because we'll be too busy dancing.
I'm saying do what she says. Put on what
I
you want.
love you too.
Not what you want.
Watching this documentary, and they were talking about Bob, and of course I'm thinking about Chicago Bebop. And it's interesting, how did the filmmaker decide, and then the role that music played in a lot of other social movements in Chicago, the city of Chicago, over you know, a couple hundred years. Like, how did the filmmaker decide to not really bring in those other elements of the role that music has played as an expression of a lot of things in Chicago? Was that a creative decision, or was that what kind of decision? Well, just so you know, filmmaker, and pace filmmaker. You got him right here.
You know, again, there was a part in the film where you know, the gentleman, forgetting his name, the pastor. He's actually, yes, he's a really close confidant to President Obama. He had a child who he adopted, who actually ended up getting killed in front of his church a couple years later. You know, I had a conversation with him after that round table, and the whole thing stemmed upon music and the empowerment of music. And, you know, he said music is the one thing that doesn't need permission to get up in your spirit. And I thought that was